There we go, found it. Hello, welcome back to Kerbal System Science Mode Part 46, where we're going to be trying to set some of our little Kerbals that we sent out to various places on the way home. So we'll get started. I did pop on to the science save to delete some of the debris outside of the thing, because I figured it was looking like it was a pretty boring bit of a pretty boring task to go around just clicking, destroy. So right, so we have the Moho escape burn in 10 days time, and I think that we're probably going to have to do this escape over multiple burns. So there's still a few bits of debris left, but we don't need to worry too much about that. Right, so yeah, I think our next maneuver is the thing, yeah. Yeah, so thing is, I have a feeling that this burn's going to be a little bit problematic to do in one go, because I think because if I recall, it's like a multi. It's quite a long burn, and if we're in a low orbit around Kerbin, we're probably not going to not Kerbin around Moho. We're probably not going to be able to do the entire burn in a single go. So yeah, it's an 18-minute burn, and our orbital period is 37 minutes. So we'd have to start the burn on the other side of the planet. So that's not really going to cut the mustard. So I mean, we've got a 37-minute orbit, so we want to be like probably doing it in 3 burns if we can. But I don't know how far we can. I don't know how far we can extend our. In theory. Yeah. So, yeah, again, it's not really feasible to do this burn because we're going to be starting like 9 minutes. So we're going to be starting around here. We're probably going to end up putting our trajectory through Moho surface in order to actually achieve that. So, at the moment, I'm thinking if I note down again, we want it to happen there, and we need to be ejecting Moho's. Yeah, so we basically want this to be our periapsis. We need 2,822 meters per second, and we need to be doing that in 10 days and 3 hours time. So and we're gonna have to because I don't think this thing is really set up for doing like pre-ejection burns, because yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to try clearing all these, because these are all going to be right. So we have our thing roughly. So the question is, if we had our maneuver at the bottom here, or like it was about there, wasn't it? So I want to see how much delta V we can put in before we actually leave Moho's sphere of influence. Because it's probably not going to be a lot. Okay, so Mr. Weather, we're in a very low orbit, so I'm wondering if if we aim for a 7-day. So 7 days and essentially 2 hours. Orbital period. So if we did this in 3 days, then it's a 2-minute burn. I'm wondering if it's worth raising up our periapsis a little bit, because at the moment we're like 26k. So even if we, we'll be coming in, like there's every chance we'll end up hitting the planet if we're not careful. Something if we do this first. So the idea will be that we do a burn at periapsis here to raise our apoapsis up. We then do a little burn at apoapsis to raise our periapsis. And then we can do our ejection burn after that. So if we have an orbital period of 7 days, 2 hours, then that'll be... Actually, we can make this 7 days rather than 7 days, 2 hours. Then it can be 3.5 days. Because it's 10.5 days until we want to do our escape. So we do want this thing to be like... There you go. So that would be a 7 day. So yeah. So that's a 7 day. So we do this. Well, let's think. So hypothetically speaking, then if we set up another maneuver here, and we like essentially raise up. The idea would be to raise our periapsis to like 100 kilometers, let's say. So we do that. That only increases our thing by 30 minutes, so that's fine. Just gives us a bit more leeway. I'm wondering if maybe we can afford to do that a bit more. Like 200 kilometers, let's say. So that's right. Yeah, raise our periapsis to 200 kilometers. That makes it 7 days and 1 hour, which would be halved. So you do 3.5 days, and then 3.5 days, and another half an hour. So it'd be 7 days and 30 minutes until we came back round to periapsis here. And then hopefully we've got a lot more leeway for doing our final ejection burn here, which would be so 306 plus is about what 10 there. So we need like, let's have a look, 2,822, 306 meters per second, and then 7 day period. If we go back to maneuver 2, 8.9, so 9 meters per second, 7 days, 1 hour. So that would be like a total orbital period of 7 days, 30 minutes. That's 6 plus 9 is 315. So yeah, if you take 22 minus 15 is 7. 0, 8 minus 3 is 5. So if we do 2,507. and essentially we adjust this. So this will be 2507, but this will be in. Oh yeah, I can just type it in, can't I? 2507. Silly me. So 2507 meters per second there. So we end up leaving, and then hopefully this will be a similar looking orbit. Yeah, very similar, I think. Well, at the moment, not quite. I think what we need to do is we need to so we need to set our first. So we need to delay everything by so it's going to take 7 days and half an hour. So we need to delay it by 3 days and 2 hours 30 minutes. So if we go back to maneuver 1, and if we so it's currently in 5 minutes. We want this to be in like a lot more than that. So 42, 1 hour. Needs to be like 3 days. It's 3 days. It's 3 days, 2.5 hours, right? Well, you get 3 days, 2.5 hours. So that's that one. Maneuver 2 is presumably considerably. Yeah. Make maneuver 3. Pull that further around. Let's back to maneuver 2. I think that's probably as close to apoapsis as we're going to get. I guess maybe through we can just drag. Alright, so we go. So yeah, maneuver 2, which will be in. And again, I really like to make it so it's exactly on apoapsis if I can, which is about as close as it's going to get. We want maneuver 3 to be on periapsis. So, and let's see what that does for us. It should hopefully give us a similar orbit to what we had. Yeah, not too bad actually. And then hopefully that means we're leaving at about the right time. So yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that this will give us a bit more leeway. Because I feel like if we do the entire burn now, we're starting the burn like 9 minutes before, which is going to be like a quarter orbit. So we're probably going to end up like just crashing into Moho if we do it too close. So yeah, I'm thinking this. So we'll try this, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. I guess we can hope. I mean, there's not much point doing more maneuvers because they'll be affected by I mean, we can plot them at least. So yeah, minus 6.9 descending. That's ascending. We're going to be going down. Don't think that's really going to have much of an effect, is it? If it is going to, yeah. So minus 0.1 is going to be the best we can get. Assuming it doesn't, you know. Yeah. Okay, cancel maneuver 4. Right. How about over here? Down. Hopefully try and get it down to 0. There we go. 0. Okay, so still doable. Still very much doable. So yeah, I think we can. So we can fine tune these as we go, because we're still like several maneuvers out. So yeah, I think we have our. So this is a 2-minute 20-second burn, which means there's going to be like a 16-minute burn. So we're going to have to start 8 minutes beforehand. But again, hopefully we'll have enough enough leeway in our orbit to actually do it and not spawn a giant burn. I think it's probably end up being less efficient, but hopefully we'll have enough maneuver 4, which is probably quite a big one. Oof, minus more than 5,400. I think that was similar, wasn't it? So it's like 3,000. So yeah, I mean it was still going to be a bit sketchy on the old Delta V. Again, I hope we have enough to capture. If not, we'll just have to try it because we don't have any more fuel. I don't think. We still have 3 days, so I wonder if. Because I don't think we have anything that Yeah, I don't think we've got anything that can actually add more fuel. So I think we're just going to have to go for it. So pointing where we want to point. Let's get rid of that because that's no longer an actual valid thing. Let's try this. Again, hard mode, no quick saves, so if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Okay. Doing this in the dark, but not very much we can do about that. "45 seconds till we start burn. And then hopefully we just stage this this little bit of fuel we got here. Yeah. So hopefully if we pin that, we should see that going down when we start burning. Yep, that is going down. This stuff isn't yet, that's good. Here we go. I'm not going to see the stage happen, but so hopefully this will just be deposited. Leave that behind. Might as well do screenies because we do actually. Oh, nope, that's not the button I wanted. But it will do because that should hopefully mean we disable the overlay. Yeah, lots of nighttime escape burns, unfortunately, but that's what happens when you're. So I'm hoping I've done the maths right, but I think I have. That will do. So we have so it's 4-second burn, hopefully still roughly at apoapsis, but easy to click and drag. Cool, and then maneuver 2, which we want dragging around to as close to our actual periapsis as possible, which will then hopefully not have messed up our overall plan too much, but yeah, we're still pretty close. Can't help wondering if maybe we could save some fuel by by aiming. Like, I don't know, be a bit difficult I think to manage it. So adjust our inclination here so that we end up. I don't think it's possible because if you adjust your inclination at this point in the orbit, then you're going to be crossing it back there, which is the wrong place anyway. So I don't think we can really do that much. But hopefully, if we can approach Kerbin, like on as close an orbit as possible, then we don't need to do too much to. And if we can even get a gravity assist from the Mun to sort of aid us in our capture, that'd be useful. But we have a 4-second burn, so not a huge burn in 3 days and 3 hours. And then yes, we'll that's pretty much on the apoapsis. Actually, you can tell by the time, can't you? Because the maneuver's in 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes, and apoapsis in 3 days, 3 hours, 6 minutes. Okay, so we can use this to adjust it, like, more finely. So we want it to be in 5 minutes. There we go, 5 minutes. That should be the approximately right. Then maneuver 2. Which again doesn't tell you. We can fine tune maneuver 2 when we get there. Right, so we will point the way we want to point. So our lab do like 300 science, is still a fair way from that being full. And we shall fast forward to our next maneuver node. No, 30 seconds. Right, we're actually all there. More of this stuff we actually use, the better. Right, cool. So that is that one. We have a 16-minute burn in 3 days, 3 hours, and we can make sure that that is aligned with our periapsis. So our orbital periapsis is in 3 days, for 3 days and 3 hours, and 44 minutes. Now that's okay. So that is exactly at our periapsis. Cool. So yes, hopefully that will put us on a reasonable. Yeah, we're pretty close there, and I want to be trying like as close to Kerbin's orbit as possible, so I can hopefully get a decent chance of capturing. But yes, actually we could do another. Many screenies, right? So we'll get ready for this thing because this is going to be a long burn, 16 minutes. So hopefully it's not going to destroy. It's not going to result in our destruction. Because hopefully now we've got 200 kilometer periapsis, so we should be able to adjust that a fair bit without risking. But yeah, 16-minute burn, which is going to be about it's about half of our delta V, just under. Then another 1400. So we might be okay. We shall have to see. But anyway, we'll continue with this endeavour because we want to try and get them at least on their way home, even if it'll take them a while to get there. So again, no point quick saving because there is no quick save, so I might as well head off to the there you go. So we're not too far off. Not too far off our our prograde marker, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a bind. But yeah, once again, this is going to be happening in majority in darkness, because yeah, we're gonna have to we'll have to fizz warp this because it's like 16. Like with fizz warp, it'll be 4 minutes about, and we'll keep an eye on our periapsis and make sure it doesn't go down below like 30. Maybe it does, we're screwed. So I mean, I'll try not like the priority will be not to kill the Kerbals, even if we have to go and rescue them at some point. Again, ain't no better time for screenies. No. Right, let's try. Yeah, see our periapsis is going down, which is what we kind of expect. It's going down quite rapidly. So let's keep an eye on periapsis, and hopefully it's not going to go too far down. Once we pass periapsis, then we're going to be like, yeah, we'll be fine. Which we're passing in now. So after this point, our periapsis will stop going down once we're past it. But yeah, we're not going to go anywhere. We're not getting anywhere near the planet, so we're fine. the parting shots of Moho. We get down to like 30 seconds of burn left, then we'll go back to normal time warp. But at the moment we're just we'll have to do multi-stage capture at Kerbin as well. Okay, that's 30 seconds of burn. The saving is that much of an issue if you overshoot this, but I'd rather do this as accurately as possible. We've overshot slightly, but we can this just reduces our mass, so yeah, close enough. So we have 3,435 left, so we're going to have about 2,000 when we're done with the next. Yeah, just under two, just a shade under 2,000. We might have enough to do this. So again, like, you know, it won't be a perfect. It's not too far off actually, though. Yeah, that's our leaving. Again, more screenies, all the screenies, leaving Moho. So we now need to go and sort out our next, which according to this. Yeah, that orbit's not useful. We could probably fast forward until we're outside of then we can line up our thing exactly with the ascending node, etc. Let's look 1400. Maneuver 2 was looking about what 400 meters per, like 500 meters per second. So and that hopefully that will give us yeah, it didn't quite get us there at the moment, but we'll remake this when we get closer. I'm just wondering if we fast forward to leaving Moho's sphere of influence. But we managed to not crash into Moho, and we are on our escape trajectory as desired. But we can worry about it. I think it'll be easier if we just yeah. If we time warp to, so we're leaving in 41 minutes, so if we time warp to 39, then like all we need to do when we get to Kerbin is get into ideally get into an orbit that's below the Mun, so that we don't want, so we have like plenty of time to refuel as needed. That's all we need to do. Let's say goodbye, Moho. We landed on that, and hopefully we're going to get home with our science and our ship that actually did the job, and hopefully we can reuse and have it go elsewhere, like maybe go to Eve or something. We should have enough delta V for that. 7-minute burn in 40 days, which I believe is actually after yeah. So our next thing is in 24 days. So we've got some. We have some. Oh yeah, we actually have we can get Duna on its way back as well. So we shall wait until we are out of Moho's sphere of influence, which should hopefully be in a few seconds. T minus 16 seconds until we're outside of Moho's sphere of influence. And once we're over the sun, hopefully this thing will tell us when we get to the ascending node, and we can line up our next maneuver based on that. There we go. 40 days, 3 hours. 40 days, 5 hours. So we do want the maneuver 1 to be a little bit earlier than it currently is. So 10 seconds, 50 seconds, 200 seconds, 500 seconds. 200, and then yeah, for 40 days, 3 hours. Actually, we can see what our orbital characteristics are. Oh yeah, we don't. Actually, no, there are more advanced, aren't they? But unfortunately, these don't give you the. So we're gonna have to go with 3 hours, and unfortunately, that's not the most accurate. But we can get it within an hour. So 40 days. So we'll go 40 days, 3 hours, and 30 minutes if we can. And then we'll once we're closer, we can the 40 days, 3 hours and 30 minutes. 29, that'll do. So we do that. And we can also have a look at maneuver 2. So it might be necessary to reset that and redo it. So make that 0. Make this 0. And then not quite so much. Okay. Well, let's we're even just Kerbin right now. Kerbin is can we focus our view on Kerbin? See what this is getting us. Pretty far out, but hopefully we can fine tune this quite nicely. So we want to be coming in. We're coming in from here to here, and we want to be going in the same direction as the moons or the other moons are orbiting. So we want to be coming through on this side of the planet. And ideally, like, you know, doing a bit. So we're going to try and get that so the Parallax is coming through the plane. Like so. And then we reduce this down. We want to come in within a again, I don't think we're getting a moon encounter before we So again, our satellites, which are not on the map at the moment, we'll bring our space stations back up. Where are our space stations gone? There we go. So I mean, ideally, we want to come in like a little bit of a higher orbit, try and circularize here, and then we can just like adjust and lower our orbit gradually. So I'm thinking we aim for like 600. .601, there we go. It's about 600 kilometers. Yeah. Like that. So that's what? Again, about 300. So about 400 delta V. So that's... So 1400 gets us down to 2000. That's 400. And then we should need no more than 900 to circularize. So we should actually be fine. We should have enough fuel. I think. If this is right. Enough fuel to get, you know, decently circularized, I think. Or at least get captured and captured within Kerbin's, like, you know, without risk of the mun. I mean, we'll do the approach thing, so we slow down on approach, because yeah, it's probably going to take, because it's probably, well, I say like 900. It's probably more than 900, because, you know, we're currently I mean, we can see because if we add a maneuver here, then this is going to be purely retrograde. So we're going to know the exact amount needed to. So that's a capture. Oh yeah, that's So yeah, about so 900 to capture, and then to get us down within like. We should be fine. That gets us down to like within Moon's sphere of influence. So yeah, we can refuel from Kerbin if we need to. But say 1000. We should have 1500, so I think this is going to be, yeah, I think we're going to be fine, but this is going to be happening later because this is for maneuver. Inclination correction, maneuver 1, add alarm. So that's going to be happening after the escape of KSS Pioneer. So we've got a couple of maneuvers to do before that. But I think we are okay actually in terms of fuel allowance. I think we have enough to do what we need to do. So that free refuel mission was definitely worth it because I don't think we would have had enough if we hadn't done that. So I'm guessing like yeah, if we go through because I don't think the Pioneer escapes, like the Pioneer Duna escape isn't going to need that much delta V because there's only like 90 meters per second of difference between the orbits. So hopefully we shouldn't need too many like multiple burns. So I think even if we get to within 7 days of Duna escape, then what we can do is we can do the Eve return to Kerbin because that's about 10 days beforehand. Then we can plot our Duna return. And hopefully they're not going to return at the same time, but I don't think they will because the orbits are very different. Like the Moho to Kerbin will be quicker and it's leaving earlier, so. These guys are pretty close to, like I say close, I mean they're getting I have a feeling that they're a bit I'm assuming they're fine. But yeah, so we will go to the Eve return to Kerbin, and we'll switch to that, and we'll sort this out because yeah, we're coming up on 7 o'clock. We've done our first set of maneuvers. This one's got to do a maneuver, 15-second burn. I do like the circular solar panels. Yes. That was that one, wasn't it? And then we got this one. Just checking our yeah. Okay. So this one's ready to go. Let's do that, because we're going to be time warping to it. We'll then sort out our Duna job, work out what our thing is. I have a feeling we might be able to do that in a single burn. Like, I don't know what the TWR is for that ship, so it might be a case of, yeah, we might have to break it up into multiple burns, but hopefully it won't take too long. Okay. 53 seconds, 15-second burn. These are chemical engines, so we should be fine with just starting them and stopping them relatively quickly. Oh yeah, I think we reduced the kind of the power of these engines didn't we for this burn, because it was it's our current trajectory like. Well, not 1 second meters per second. So we currently have a periapsis. Let's focus on Eve for a second. We should presumably have a periapsis that is roughly what we wanted. That periapsis is rather low, worryingly so. So I have a feeling we may want to. Interestingly, the trajectories is not telling us what we want. So Yeah, well, never mind, maybe it's not working. But I mean, in theory, like, this should be well within Eve's atmosphere, so we need to modify that slightly. So I'm thinking maybe like a slight adjustment on our current trajectory, which is here at the moment. So maneuver in 45 days. And we want this to be both like on the ecliptic and not this close to a. So not great, but I'll take it. 125, 3.3 meters per second, so we can leave those engines where they are. We'll be coming in at a bit of an angle. What we'll do is we'll capture to the outside, to the outskirts. We'll correct our inclination at a high apoapsis, and then we'll worry about that later. I mean, it's gonna be pretty high inclination, but we should hopefully and then that should be hopefully high enough above Eve's atmosphere that we can hopefully capture without too much problem. But yes, it's kind of annoying that the trajectories isn't giving us information, so we're just going to have to put it into, we're just going to have to try with the other one, because I was hoping the trajectories would give us the information we need as to whether or not we need to, essentially what we can do is we can decelerate as much as we can on approach to Eve with the other one. But, speaking of Eve sample return, has its thing in 3 days, the escape burn is in. Yeah, so we're done here, so what we'll do is we'll add the next one. Maneuver Eve return to Kerbin. It'd be nice if it actually like named it by the so that's happening. That's not too far away from Eve ComNet, but we should be able to have a bit of leeway with these. And they're not very long burns, so we should be fine. Eve sample return, let's switch to. And I might keep an eye on Eve's like on the map screen for this, for the last bit of the burn. Oh yes, actually no, we were going to sort out Duna, weren't we? Because we don't necessarily know like if the Duna escape is exactly as we want it yet. We might want to do a pre-ejection burn. So, okay, that's fine. 1 minute 35 seconds burn. 1 minute 35 seconds. Our orbital period is 52 minutes, so that's going to be very close to periapsis when we actually do that. So we're not going to need to worry too much about this. Again, if we do this, so we just look at. Oh yeah, we do have a flyby of Ike on the way out. But we hopefully end up encountering Kerbin at some point. Yep. So yeah, we're fine for that. We can just do that when the time comes. So we switch back to Eve sample return and sort this out. And again, like basically what we'll do is we'll aim for 70. We'll aim for 70 kilometers per second, 70 kilometers, and we will slow down with this as much as we can before we hit it, and then hope we capture. And it might just be a case of yeah, just eating it into the atmosphere and then waiting for it to actually come down, wherever it comes down. Yeah, as much as I'd like to try like flinging it prograde in to try and maintain the engines, I just feel like it's going to be too much of an ask. Like, this will be a case of yeah, just having it come in, and if it doesn't capture, it doesn't capture, and if it does, then great, we'll have to keep track of it until it lands. Again, no Kerbals aboard, so I don't really care. So what we'll do is we're pointing the way we want to point. We've got a 15-minute burn, which is going to be great. We're going to have lots of waiting for the Let's fast forward to our. Oh, let's delete the maneuver first. Delete. Let's time warp to where we want to be. Yeah, and then for the last bit of the burn, we'll set up our map ready for. I should do that now. If we can focus on Eve, so we can see. Yeah, we can make sure that periapsis comes in as we intend it to. So 24 seconds to go. Okay, it's not really going to be any staging going on here, so let's just time warp this thing. So yeah, so hopefully this thing will again once we get down to the last like minute or so, we'll go back to normal time and normal time warp and just watch the map screen. I'm kind of thinking maybe we aim a bit more than maybe aim for about 50 kilometers. Let's see, 70s. maybe go for 60 or 55. I guess I don't want to go too deep into the atmosphere that we explode, but I don't want to go not far in because we're not going to have any. If we skim off the atmosphere and don't capture, then we don't. We have no. We know it's a wasted mission. But obviously, if you go too deep, you'll just explode. So I'm going to go. I'll go with 60. I'll aim for 65. Hopefully that'll be enough. It'll be right. You go too deep in, you'll just explode because you're coming in from orbital velocity. But but if you don't go in, because you only get one pass through the atmosphere. So I guess what we can do is we can use this to slow down as much as we can before we hit the atmosphere, and then hope the aero braking gives us the rest of the way. But we do want to. Start slowing down. So go back to normal time warp, and then hopefully see our. Okay, there's our periapsis. Yeah, it looks like we're pointing directly retro, so if we point prograde, then we can adjust that, because I think that's going to be too deep. That's going to be too deep in the atmosphere, I think. I think 45 is going to be too deep. We're going to 49 is going to be too deep in the atmosphere. We're going to probably going to burn up if we do that, because I know that Eve's atmosphere will happily kill you. So we just want to nudge it. So we're getting about 5 kilometers out of each. I think one more nudge or two. We just want 65, I think. We'll leave it at 60. 60 is like 2/3 of the way, so yeah, we'll leave it at 62. So I think the plan is, yeah, just to slow ourselves down as much as we can on the approach, and then just throw ourselves on the mercy of Eve's atmosphere, and then hopefully we come down somewhere, not too mountainous. So I'm thinking if we have a thing here, for example, we had a maneuver here, and we just 809 meters per second of just of just slowing ourselves the fuck down. Like so. Obviously our periapsis goes a little bit further in there, so maybe not quite so much. Let's think actually. Let's see what let's see how long it takes to do 800 meters per second of slowing down. And let's do it a bit closer to the bit closer to Eve. Okay, that's our stage. We don't necessarily want to have to stage beforehand, so 5, there we do. $807, 809.2, there we go. So, that is a 12-minute burn. We periapsis in 28 days, 4 hours. This would be in 28 days, 2 hours, so we can, if we drag this closer here, like significantly closer. Like so. See, for 55 minus 12 is 53. 54 minus 12 is, or 13 is 51, 41. So maybe not quite so much here, so maybe like oh, that's a point. We can what we can do is we can do our slowing down, but then we can also, it's about 400 of down and then radial out, I think, just to bring our periapsis back to where we want it. So if we do this, then yeah, radial to keep us about about 65 in theory. Then we do a bunch of slowing down, bunch of radial out. There we go. Seriously, use all the fuel in this thing to slow us down as much as we can. And just hopefully, like, even just want to get as close to capturing as we can, as we possibly can. A bit too much, although we're going to be coming bringing that down a bit. Okay, we're at 808.5, so we need to go into like 800 and then see if we can't raise ourselves up and keep ourselves within budget. So that would be a. That's it's better. We're probably a lot closer to capturing there than we would be otherwise. So hopefully, if we do this burn, 12, 13-minute burn. And hopefully, we just we have enough to capture. And if we capture, then we'll we'll eventually land, because one of our we're going to be in Eve's atmosphere. So hopefully, what we'll do is we'll add this alarm for Eve, which will also be our capture, because by the time we're done burning, okay, so we've got that set up. This thing is arriving a lot earlier than everything else, so kind of hoping we actually have communications for it. Oh well, if we don't, then I say we'll try and get it. Hopefully we'll be in communication, we can get it set up for re-entry. Actually, where is even Kerbin? Where is even Kerbin going to be at that point? Okay, so I'm guessing daylight side of Eve is going to be daylight side of Eve is going to be behind. It's going to block radio communication. So we maybe don't want. We don't necessarily want this happening. Actually, I mean, in theory we should be about here, so hopefully we should still be prior to losing communication. We can set ourselves up and have it point retro and just, hold on to something and see what happens. Anyway, so we are currently at 20:07, which means we've got a little bit more time. We do have a KSS Pioneer. Now, the next thing is to have the KSS Pioneer return, set its way home. I do like the little. I do like the updated docking ports. I mean, I know that they're not really updating anything else now, but I'm glad they got a reskin. So I guess there isn't much to do, because I mean, this thing is okay, this thing's nearly at. This thing will be at. We can get the science out of this. Have these gone off? Oh yeah, they went a while ago. Okay, we can do the. So we can fast forward to do the science. There we go. Transmit science. Science labs in this game are quite broken, but that's why we expanded the tech tree. And I think we've got even better science labs now, don't we? Which I need to start looking into, because I think they're the same, but you can put more Kerbals in them, and they have more storage. They have more storage capacity as well. So we have 625. We've got room for 125 data in there. I don't think we have anything that will fit. That's too big. So 750 is too big. 600 will fit. Okay, well, I don't think anything else is going to fit, so that's cool. We shall get rid of this, add the next science lab, 23 days. Oh, we want to do nothing and no message. Cool, we'll worry about the Icarus in a minute. Because the next thing is this thing, which again, it's not very big on long burn. It's only 600 meters per second to do our ejection, so and we should be burning on the daylight side of Duna, I think. Although having said that, we are. I don't know. Well, in theory, because we're going to be burning going back in, so in theory we should be burning on the daytime side because we want to be burning. We want to be leaving Duna in like retrograde to its orbit, so that we're reducing our solar periapsis. I don't think there's much else to do, so I think we're just going to fast forward to our zoom. I forgot to delete the alarms, so it'd be interesting to see if cool. Hang on a second. There we go. That'll be why we were still controlling from the rear docking port. So yeah, that makes more sense now. So we're actually pointing in the right direction. Yeah, that would have been a bit of a costly mistake. We started burning retrograde for a minute and 35 seconds. So yeah, the little Duna ship is going to be setting the KSS Pioneer is going to be setting itself off on its way home. Never have too many screenies. So, I mean, it's only a less than 2 minute burn, so we can just do this in real time. And this will give us a little flyby of Ike on our way home as well. So. And again, we should have plenty of Delta V for this job. Transition, so that we're now on a hyperbolic trajectory now. Ooh, we overshoot. I think we overshot a bit. Oh, just a little bit. We can, there we go. Right, hopefully we are not going to crash into, we're not crashing into Ike, we're just flying by Ike. Yeah, that's Ike's position when we fly by it. Ike escape. And then hopefully we have our Kerbin encounter. Yeah, so we're going to be shooting by Ike on our way out. So have a little wave as we go by. But yeah, you know, these guys have been in orbit around Duna for, I mean, they've been on a mission for like 4 years. So I mean, they spent 2 years in orbit around Kerbin because we missed the window, and then they've spent a couple of years around Duna, and they've landed and they've come back, and they're now on their way home. Right. So before we do anything else, let's Kerbin. Let's can we select Kerbin, please? Can we? I want to select Kerbin. Are we in time warp? No, I don't think we're in time warp. Why won't you let me select Kerbin? Yeah, we can. Oh, Kerbin. There we go. Right. So, I mean, it's definitely a thing. So I feel like we have, how many maneuvers have we got set up? We've got 2 maneuvers. We've got this one here, which I assume is supposed to be our circularization, but it's going a bit wonky there. I think we'll just be easier if we delete this. We go back to maneuver 1, which at the moment is just like having us just smash right into Kerbin at the moment. If we do this, which isn't great. Not gonna lie. So the majority of this is based on right. Again, we're aiming for like a 600 kilometer, and then we can like gradually ease our way down to space dock 1. We are coming in roughly on plane. So if we just fine tune this, 604 is fine. So it's what, 17.8. Maneuver here, and we just like, what is that even to circularize? Just and then we're coming in that way, so we are going to be orbiting in the same direction as our target, as our eventual target. And what is that? That's like what, 800 meters per second. So not even like, yeah, we're going to have loads of fuel left after we're done here. So yeah, again, Duna transfers not that difficult to do. So yeah, we just we shall add our next maneuver alarm. Yep. Add alarm, 110 days, so that'll be KSS Pioneer is here, so yeah, nice gap between everything else. So they'll be hopefully coming out by about the time. So the Icarus's inclination correction is in the next thing, which is in 4 days' time. So we'll switch back to the Icarus now because we have a science lab to transmit data home from. So we go here to the Icarus and we switch back to that, which will now be hopefully on its way back from Moho. So we should hopefully have a science lab with, nearly. Again, that should be full within a day. Cool. Transmit that science. Well, you can probably retract these radiators as we get within range of Kerbin, because we're not gonna have having too much problems of heat. Cool, 499 science, that's fine. We can just go through this and see what we can store. That's too much. 480 will fit, probably nothing else. Yeah, 240, no, that's too much. Anything below 240. That's cool. So we shall use the this one to add the science lab alarm for this. No warp kill, no message. We can delete this because it's closed. That's happening in 7 days. And again we have this in 3 days, so we can delete this and we can get ready to do our maneuver, which will be a 7-minute burn. Should be like a fair chunk of our remaining delta V, but what's our distance from the sun at the moment? Actually, I think there is a temperature probe we could use to work out what the temperature is, but again, like once we get closer to Kerbin, we can like we're probably like far enough away from the sun now. Like once we get beyond Eve's orbit, I think we're fine for the purposes of retracting radiators as we don't need them. We can retract radiators on final approach to Kerbin, I think. Yeah, so we have 7 minutes, 8-minute burn. Let's time warp and start. We can fast forward through this a bit. I think we're getting towards the sunlight bouncing off a skyscraper time of the evening. I will see to that in a minute when I've done this burn. Seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, the actual like precise timing of this isn't super important because you know we're on such a long period orbit that, yeah. And we'll just queue through this. Land, but Baramone Kerbin is having the absolute time of her life. She's loving it. Lando's having a bit of fun as well. Okay, we're approaching the end of burn. 4, 3. Yeah, we've still got 2500 delta V left, so we should be alright. Again, we'd kill it when we get below 10. Don't overshoot. What we like for monoprop, we've got loads. We can do the rest of this on monoprop. There we go, 0.0. So let's examine. So we have a 384 meters per second burn. So we're gonna have 2,000 burn by the time, hopefully by the time we intercept Kerbin. Assuming we still have a periapsis. So where's Kerbin gone? Kerbin is here. Focusing on Kerbin. What's our current situation? Periapsis of 606. Yeah, that's fine. Don't think there's much else we need to do there. Yeah, we're a bit high, so we can switch maneuver 1 and tweak this a bit. So I think we want to be going no. Okay, we need to fine tune this a little bit more. There we go. 596. .601, and then maneuver 2, which is going to be a 1,000 meters per second burn. So we might have to rejig this slightly. So let's see what it's like to actually properly circularize. So it's about circularize there. That's bugger it. 1,500 plus 384. That's not even 2,000. So we're gonna have about 400 meters per second of delta V left when we actually circularize properly. Which again we'll probably do a bit of a. We should be fine actually, because I mean like the like, yeah, we'll reduce the periaxis a bit, but there you go. So our next thing is in 20 days time. We do want to add this as a maneuver. Icarus in 20 days. Yep. Add alarm. These aren't too far apart. 21 days. Okay, so the next thing is the sample return capture burn, which, you know, we've got 15 minutes. I feel like maybe we should do this next time because I feel like that's gonna be a big that's gonna be a big that's gonna be a pretty big event, like. So I think we'll leave that. We'll leave the. So we've got 16 days of. So we can do something else in the interim. Yeah, these guys. Let's point to that next maneuver. But yeah, so we're actually we're, like, these guys are on their way back. The original Jeb, etc., are on their way back. So hopefully we shall have 10 very experienced and very homesick Kerbals returning, and they shall be returned to Kerbin with their families to reunite with their families, hopefully. But yeah, this is actually it's pretty maneuverable when you're actually when you don't have all the masses of fuel at the back. But yeah, so this will be the first. So I think next time will be the first time I've actually got Kerbals back, because I feel like, yeah, the Icarus. The next one is in 20 days. I feel like we'll probably get the there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in the next the next like there's one in 16 days, and 4 days after that there's a bunch of stuff happening. So we'll have a fair bit to do. I'm thinking at the moment I might pop back to the Kerbal Space Center and start designing, because I think we've unlocked the big transmitter parts. I might start designing a mission to put essentially the idea will be to put communication satellites at points on Kerbin's orbit, with the idea of and probably try and do a dive orbit so that we do it quicker. So the idea would be like so Kerbin itself would be one of the nodes, and then you put, so the idea being that like Kerbin being behind the sun stops being a problem. Essentially, and once you've got this set up and it's powerful enough, then like so long as you have satellite link up around a planet, you'll presumably never have problems with communication. So that would be the idea. I was doing that on my career mode save, but because it takes several years to actually set it up, so I'll need to figure out what the delta V requirements for the satellite are going to be. So what I might do is try and look that up now, because obviously it's a bit, you can't really design. Actually, we can do. Actually, we've got a. Do we have? This is in 20 days, isn't it? So we have this next one set up. Yep. We'll go back to the Space Center. Let's start thinking about it. Actually, I do have. I probably have the notes actually from my other one, from the one I did for my career mode save, and the I don't think the numbers are going to be any different. So that's all my No Man's Sky notes. Here we go. There we go. Kerbal orbital relay, 4 satellites and Kerbin. Insertion delta V 500 meters per second. So, I'll switch back to KSC. So I think we can start designing a big satellite with a big satellite dish with a satellite receiver. Actually, before we do that, I will deal with this, because I realise that the sun's been shining directly into the camera for a while. I'll also turn on my lights because That way you get a very slightly better view of me, but, you know, that's not what you came here to watch, if anyone is actually watching, which I don't think anyone is. Anyway, so yes, satellite. Big satellite dish. Ideally in a compact enough package. So I might try some robotics parts for the purposes of, but we can at least like create the sub-assembly here. Ooh, we could use one of these. Xenon tank. This one's got liquid fuel and oxidizer. I just feel like maybe these might be a bit too big. So basically I'm looking at like communications dish. Like the RA100 I think is probably the basically stick this on like here. Grab a couple of big old solars. I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be fully symmetrical. I haven't designed this thing for symmetry, have I? I think just the one so that like so. And I'm wondering if we stick an engine on here, do we have like again if we stick a spark, which you know 943 TUI 1.03, and that should be enough. I feel like we need something else on here, but I don't know what. Presumably our center of mass and center of thrust are not aligned, which is not great. Presumably if we pop one of these on this side, maybe it's a bit more aligned. There we go. It's Not amazing, but I think it'll do. 773 meters per second. This thing's got how much charge in it? 1,000 electric charge is probably going to be enough. What's the SAS control on this thing like? Because now they actually have SAS, I imagine it's probably a... Oh god, there's so many bloody... Yeah, target maneuver. Yeah, okay, that's got all the SAS we need. Okay, so we've got so I don't think this thing's going to fit that much in where we want it to go, but I think it'll do. Let's build something like large enough to contain these, which, to be fair, like the dish is bigger than it is, so 773. I assume that is that in. Okay, it's even better in vacuum. That's fine. I don't think there's anything else we need. We just need some solar panels for energy generation. We want a TD60 coupler, which will go on here, like so. We set up the action groups. Custom 10, set 4. Satellites, and we just have this toggle these, and I think that should be good enough. And our TWR is 1.05, which isn't too bad. Actually, if we remove from staging, like so, then we can get rid of these. And we can access the advanced menu, sub-assemblies, satellites, and this is the RA100, isn't it? So we reroute, like so. So this is now the thing. We drop this into the sub-assembly drop zone, and we call this the RA100 Comsat, and we save it. I feel like I might want to use this elsewhere, so I'm wondering if I stick actually, I don't think we're not gonna need to use it any closer to the sun than Kerbin is. So, like an option for an RTG variant of this might be useful for like Joule, etc. But we can do we can worry about that later on. So we're at 5 to 8, so we could probably start building something that would. We'll at least like build something. So we want to put 4 of these in something. So I don't save. So I feel like I'm probably gonna want a. We can start with a. We can have the interstage nodes on. That way we can stick a remote guidance unit. On here, which will give us our control. We can then stick our we can stick like a battery, it's like a big old battery on top of here. Then we can build our deployment thing. So payload varying another 5 meter one here, like so. Worry about that later, and then we attach our payloads here. So structural of these, radial attachment point. Probably put them as far, like relatively out towards the side, like so. And then we can get our sub-assemblies. We can stick the RI-100. You can see the RI-100 Comsat will fit on here. It will not fit on there. Okay. We can widen. I think we can widen the structure somewhat. So I'm thinking if we spread to functional. Again, structural. We want probably something like this, or a micro. No, not that. Maybe one of these. No, that only connects a lot. Okay, right. So let's detach this for a second. Attach here. Is there a micro cubic truss hub? Cubic truss 1 meter. Cubic truss hub. Where's the hub gone? So I'll put these on here, like so. You see, that's a lot better. I don't think we need it to be that far out, so we can get rid of this. We can probably get the 0.5 meter variant, like so. Put that on that. Pop this on here. And then we can actually move these a bit closer together. That kind of works, doesn't it? Gives us 4 of our satellites, and then I need to work out how much delta V we actually need to get our to get ourselves where we need to go. So the idea would be like we stick stuff in here, and then we plonk a big fuel tank with some rockets on the back. Put an RCS fuel tank, monoprop fuel tank in here, some RCS for fine tuning, and then hopefully we can get this thing up and going. But we will. We're currently doing place mode. This to work. There we go. So yeah, Kerbal ComNet deployment. Very much a let's just save this in default. We shall leave this as it is. We'll probably have to modify it a bit, but we've just gone past 8 o'clock, so we've done 2 hours. I feel like that's probably enough. So we will head back to the Kerbal Space Center, and I think this was moderately successful. I think so. Next time we'll be doing some rather hair-raising landing on places. So we're going to try and do our capture and landing on Eve, depending on when that happens, and we'll have our continue our return journey to. Yes, we'll have some things on the way to Dres, and then hopefully hopefully get at least one of either the KSS Pioneer or the KSS Icarus back to Kerbin, to orbit around Kerbin. Maybe even do the docking and the return. So I will save the game before I forget. And we will quit to main menu. And yeah, I hope anyone who has been watching is, even if you've been lurking, or if you're watching on YouTube, then I hope you've found this interesting. Otherwise, yeah, let's go back. Right, successful, I think. Yeah, so next Thursday, unless I cancel it for whatever reason, because, I have a life. But yeah, if you have been watching, I hope you've enjoyed, and yeah, if you're on YouTube, then like, subscribe, or whatever, if you want to. No pressure. Yeah. Cheerio.